Welcome to the Pace Studio Atlanta, everybody. This is our very first session in our brand new office here at Paste HQ, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Kevn Kinney of Drivin and Cryin. Welcome, Kevn.
Hello, everybody on the internet.
Hey.
And at home.
So, congratulations on the new album, Live the Love Beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about, this is first Drivin and Cryin record and full album in 10 years. Can you tell me a little bit about making this album with Aaron Lee Tasjan and Tim?
we wanted to we were thinking about making a new record because we have another great guitar player. We've become the farm team for great guitar players. We've had Aaron Lee Tasjan was one of our guitar players, Sadler Vaden, Werner Hodges, Matt Carter, whole bunch of Bierfeller, and we have a new guy called Lauer Jometz. And we just had we were thinking we really wanted to capture him, but we needed to write some songs. So we went to Aaron's house and sat in his living room and came up with some melodies and some ideas and things like that. So it was an organic process, kind of putting it together. But we really wanted to work with Aaron. He's been making some really great sounding records, and Chuck Prophet has been making some great records. My friend Tim Knoll in Amsterdam. So there's these guys that they're making these really clear, precise, clean records, and I didn't want to just make another Drivin and Cryin record. So I wanted to take advantage of these great producers out there, and Aaron produced his last record, and I was really Karma for Cheap, and I just loved it. So we asked him to produce us. So I thought he did a great job. So.
I did too. Well, what are you gonna play?
Well, the first song that I'm gonna play is a song from that record, and it kind of came up with I wrote on a picnic table down in Florida, waiting to do a singer-songwriter showcase. I just had this guitar, and I had this little melody I wrote down, and then I was trying to think of what it should be about, and then I thought about Ian McClagan. I was thinking about South by Southwest. I was over South by Southwest. I thought how I never met Ian McClagan, but all my friends played with him. All my friends knew him, and I had an opportunity to meet him. He was walking away from me after playing at the Yard Dog Art Gallery in the rain, and so I wrote a song about a guy that I never met, about wanting to meet the guy I never met. That's what this song's about. Well, the last time that I saw you, you were carrying your gear in the rain down the alley at Yard Dog after playing all day with your friends. The first time that I heard you, it was the Faces Ooh La La. I bought it at the White Hand Pantry, and I played it all night long. I was sitting with a rock and roll road dog who's been traveling all of his life. He's seen a lot of me come and go, so I asked him for some advice. He said some people, they do one thing, talk about it all of their lives, and some people, they just keep doing. That's what keeps you alive in this rock and roll. Well, the last time that I saw you, You're carrying your gear in the rain down the alley at Yard Dog after playing all day with my friends. You know, some people, they do one thing, talk about it all of their lives. But Ian McClagan kept doing. That's what keeps him alive in my rock and roll. Ooh la la.
That's fantastic.
This is like my first show. It's your first show.
Well, I love that, this is our first session in the new office in Atlanta, and I love that we're starting out with an Atlanta act. And really, you were, Drivin and Cryin was one of the first Atlanta bands I ever really discovered. Like, I was a classic rock kid and sort of thought music came from elsewhere.
Right.
Just didn't really ever think about it. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about the Atlanta music scene back then in the 80s and
Sure.
what was going on and starting out with Drivin and Cryin.
Well, I started off, like I said, I moved down here. We were talking earlier. I moved down here to Atlanta in 82, 83. Punk with Prosecutors, and then I was in a folk duo called the Lonesome Desperados. And then, I did sing. I wrote some folk songs. I wrote one called "Gotta Get Out of Here," which is the first song on McDougal Blues, or one of the songs. I don't know where it is, but so I grew up in Milwaukee and Chicago, so I loved going to see music. I love live music. I always had my whole life I had a ticket to some concert on my bulletin board. I saw everybody, Trower, Springsteen, Trower, Southside Johnny, Grant Parker, whatever, everybody, Patti Smith. But so there's a great club here called the 688 Club, and I just was like, this place is amazing. And when I first moved here, Iggy had just played there like for a week or something crazy like that. So Tim was in a really popular band then, like 84 I guess, called the Night Porters, and it was Ray Daffico, Andy Brown, Tim Nielsen, and Paul Lenz. And so Tim and Paul eventually recruited me to start a side project with, and that's kind of what this turned out to be. But the Atlanta scene back then was like, I look at the Loafing or something today, and or bands in town, and there's 30 bands playing in town. Yeah. Back then there's like maybe four bands playing, and rarely was one of them from out of town.
Yeah.
So we would just go see bands because they were from California. Like, hey, you want to go 688? It's like, who's playing? It's like, I don't know, they're from California. It's like, okay. So, I mean, they drove all the way from California in a bread truck. Let's go see them. So we saw Flipper and, the Residents and all that fun stuff, But we had a really good little community here. Drivin and Cryin, Uncle Green, 86. The drummer for 86 wound up being in Jesus Lizard. There was Think Jet, and then there was, of course, the Night Porters had a different bass player and drummer. The Satellites were just happening. I used to go see the Indigo Girls at Rick's, which became the St. Charles Deli or something like that. So I just loved music. I just embraced it, and I would go see as much as I could. Will Rogers was probably the first person I ever tried to play with here. I remember I would go around. Tim would drive me around and introduce me to people, and I would do like Subterranean Homesick Blues was my jam.
Yeah.
I'd play that with everybody. I would think they would be impressed. I could remember all the words, and I could remember most of them. But
well, everybody thinks of Athens during that time, but there was this vibrant scene happening here as well.
There was a vibrant scene here. Atlanta's been more of a hardy rock kind of thing, Athens had definitely was a scene, was a happening. When Athens band played at 688, it was always crowded because the UGA fans would come. So it was like Dream So Real was huge. The Pylon was already almost breaking up. The Mitch Easter projects, those were all great. Let's Active, Fetchin' Bones,
all the bands I was
all
seeing
that
in high
country
school and
circuit
college.
stuff.
Yeah.
When they came, it was always really a special, super sold out night. You know, I'm trying to think of what my favorite bands from Athens was. I like Dream So Real, but there was a band. Tom was the singer. I can't remember. Tom, he was really nice. But anyway, got it.
So you're gonna, I think you're gonna pull something out, something
Well,
older.
I could do. Let me do my. I have a deconstructed version of this. This is first song, side one, first record, 1980.
Scar but Smart.
Scar but Smarter. But this is my deconstructed version. I did as for my campfire version. It's my campfire version. You can hear the words.
All right.
We'll see how it works. Okay. I'm out of work, I'm out of hope. What should be of the unspoke? Good times for the undeserved, hard times for the ones who work. Poor man, rich man, blind man, dead man, hope for more than they have all planned. Just then they suffer a serious blow as the real world cuts the line you hold. Nobody said this would be fair. They warned you before you went out there. There's always a chance to get restarted, to a new world, new life, scarred but smarter. Is it right to wish the poor man rich? Is it right to wish the rich man poor? Hope all that's well is well ends fair. To wish thy neighbor's life to despair. Being so mad that I start crying. No payoff for all my trying to do it right, to never fail. Wishing for that fairy tale. Nobody said this would be fair. We warned you before you went out there. There's always a chance to get restarted, to a new world, new life, scarred but smarter. When my life it turns all around, jobs and things to do that I found, I think how foolish I must have looked to think I could be down for good. Nobody said it would be fair. They warned you before you went out there. There's always a chance to get restarted, to a new world, new life, scarred but smarter. Nobody said it would be fair, but in the end I think it is. Karma, justice, whatever you want to call it, it's really there. Keep looking for it. Nobody said it would be fair. We warned you before you went out there. There's always a chance to get restarted, to a new world, new life, scarred but smarter.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. So, you know, you guys started out as a lot of the songs were this real kind of post-punk, as you said, singing like Patti Smith, you know, like kind of songs, and so much of Drivin' and Cryin' that everybody knows is like Southern rock, these ballads. I love hearing all of that in one song in this deconstructed way here.
Well, the funny thing about what happened with us become somehow we wound up on 96 Rock with this. The but the song's about New York City.
Yeah.
It's about a kid in New York, and I just kind of hit that riff. I was just making fun of something that, I don't know. And Peter Buck produced the very first version of that. It's on the Mystery Road double album that we just put out.
Yeah.
The demos are really good on that. Yeah. And I guess I don't know what happened. What was that the question? What was the question?
It wasn't even really
it was
a
a
question.
compliment.
It was
Well,
a
thank you.
comment, but yeah, I mean,
That was a compliment. Thank you.
you have done. You said you were in a punk band, and then you were in a folk band, and
Yeah.
all of those elements have sort of followed you along the way in your career.
Yeah. Well, I've embraced it. I embraced what I was, the southernese. I want you to feel the southern breezes and the southernese, and blowing around this corner, man, just like the chaos of New York City, and this kid sitting on the street, and he was like 15. There was a lot of kids living in New York City at the time who were homeless, and there was a lot of, like, even on like Houston Street and like Broadway, there would be these abandoned kind of buildings, and people would live in them. Like there'd be a lot of kids. Like, you ever seen that movie Kids? There was a lot of kids living like all together and hanging out. So I just, I was hoping that kid could, give him a ticket to Atlanta. At least he'd be homeless in the South, I thought, because I grew up in the Midwest, and when I was broke and homeless, and it's a lot harder to sleep in your car when it's 17 below zero.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to sleep in your car when you're parked at the Chattahoochee River and it's like 62 degrees in the morning. It's a lot better. He's like, hey man, I don't even think this is being homeless. I think it's camping. This is pretty awesome. I lived in Arcabutla, Mississippi for a little while, and just traveling around, sleeping in my car. So anyway, I wrote that song became a big southern song, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks to 96 Rock.
Thanks to 96 Rock. That's all I listened to as a kid. Yeah, that was my jam.
Yeah.
So you've got a kind of a special show coming up this Friday.
Yep.
Lots of iconic Georgia musicians on the bill. You've got Drive-By Truckers, Michelle Malone, Bill Berry's going to be there playing with Dodd and the Councilmen.
Yep.
You got some special guests. How did that all come about?
Well, it's a benefit for the Fox Foundation, Fox Film Foundation, Fox Theater Foundation. I keep forgetting how to pronounce it, but what was that? The event's called Revival, yeah. But it's how did it come about? I think it came about. Colonel Bruce's thing was a fundraiser for it, so that was my first foray into it. And then I think that they were thinking about doing it every year, and Colonel Bruce was going to be the host. Well, Colonel Bruce died at the show on stage, as you all know. So I think when it came to time, they were thinking about an MC. My name came up, and so I said I'd love to do it, just MC it and help kind of curate it. And so yeah, we got the Truckers and Michelle and. It's going to be kind of a free-for-all, a little bit of a free-for-all, and I'm not sure if the Truckers, I'm sure, have some surprises up their sleeves.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds exciting. So you got one more song for us. What are we going to hear?
Sure, I could do one more song. I'm going to do a song from the new record, and this one is another one from the new record, I think. This one, I like this one. This is a gospel song. I wrote it for my friend Mike Ferris. You know Mike Ferris from Screaming Cheetah Wheelies? So if you're a fan of Mike Ferris, imagine him singing this song. But this song is it's called Step by Step. All right, I'll do an abbreviated version of it. It's nice to be here. Gotta take the first step before the second. The first one was the hardest one to fake. The first one I was on the lookout. The second one was uphill all the way. I wanna see my soul reflection in a morning cafe window pane. I wanna see myself tomorrow as someone I don't see today. Step by step I heed your warnings. Step by step it's just. Step by step I hear you calling. Step by step it's just one day at a time. Always saw myself as the victim, the one that I had to create. Always an excuse for my addictions. I had to stand up, take my place. I want to see the morning colors, ones I avoided for so long. I want to see myself tomorrow as someone I don't see today. Step by step I hear you calling. Step by step it's just. Step by step I heed your warnings. Step by step it's just. Step by step did you see me falling? Step by step it's just. Step by step it's a new morning. Step by step it's just. One day at a time. Thank you, Kylie.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming in here. If you're in Atlanta, you can come Friday night to the Fox Theater, Fabulous Fox Theater.
Yeah, it's gonna be a special night.
You have some more shows coming up. I know Chattanooga.
I got some. Drivin Cryin's doing Athens. We're doing Chattanooga. I'm doing a show at Eddie's Attic at the end of the month, a solo show. I'm doing a show in Dahlonega at the end of the month. Doing some special stuff around. But Drivin Cryin is on tour right now, and then a whole bunch of neat stuff coming.
Whole bunch of neat
We'll
stuff.
try to bring the band in next time.
Yeah,
I really dig your studio.
we
here.
got room.
Oh, they could show all this cool. You got keyboards and bass amps and all sorts of cool stuff here. So
Thanks. Well,
thanks for-
we're
thanks for
excited
letting me
about
be
it.
Your first contestant.
Thanks.
Did
Yeah,
did I win something?
you win. You win a T-shirt.
Did I?
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
and
Nailed it.
new album is "Live to Love Beautiful"
Live
out
to
now.
love beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin.
Well, live to love beautiful. Thanks, guys.